Thank you, Brother Akeem. Wasn't that lovely? And that's how we identify talent in the church. Thank you very much. This morning, I was home and I was able to view the service that was going on. So it's a privilege to be home and able to see what's happening at church. Just making you aware that we are online at this time. And for all our viewers who are tuning in, we will be speaking about drug awareness this afternoon. The presenter is Mr. Romain Miller, and he's from the National Council of Drug Abuse. The target group we're looking at parents and we're looking at children. And the children between ages 13 up, right? That's a target group. So I'm going to appeal at this time, all the young people who are on the outside, please come in. I'm going to ask all those who have gathered in pockets of groups around doing their different stuff to please come in. You're going to hear after a while that we weren't exposed to this, and I can attest to the fact, and other persons can attest to the fact that this information was given, right, ladies and gentlemen? So I'm going to invite them in. Drug abuse is an issue we have to look at in the church as well, because our young people, believe it or not, they are pressured and they are giving in to the pressure, and some of them, even though you are not aware, some of them are smoking, some of them are, the most common one is drinking alcoholic beverages. They are drinking that. You know the local ones, the different local ones that we have, which are fairly cheap, right? They consume that, and the alcoholic level in them, many times it's high, and we are not aware many times of why they behave the way they do. Some of them are hyperactive, some of them become violent, some of them are abusive, some of them use certain swear words, and many times they are under the influence of some drug of the sort. Sister Michelle, you can call those young people on that right there for me. It doesn't make sense we're having these programs and the young people are never in here unless somebody calls them in. We need to have them inside. So at this time, I invite Mr. Miller to come, and he will give you a broader introspection as to what he's about. Let's welcome him, the Maypen Way.
Thank you, Sister Francis. Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to everyone. And may I say praise the Lord. Hallelujah, amen. All right, we're in church and we're together again, and that's very important. We're praising the Lord in whatever way and form we may be delivering. It is to the honor and glory of the Lord. Amen. The National Council on Drug Abuse, hello, how are you? Good. Is very pleased and happy to be in association with the Maypen SDA with regards to our education and prevention programs. We at the agency have had continuous working relationship with different groups of churches. Last year, we had a wonderful stretch of activities, joint activities with the All's All SDA, Sister Wigan, Deacon Wigan, yes, and the team there, Miss from Stewart, from Osborne Store, and I've had other working relationships with other SDA churches. And this time, it's no different, that we had the opportunity to come in during the summer and made an introduction through the invitation of Sister Francis and is Sister Gabby Williams anywhere? She's not here. But she's very and was very instrumental in getting the program together, so much so that we met here in the summer with a group of, bless you, you were here, excellent, and a group of youngsters, and we started off an education program dubbed Operation Lighthouse. What is Operation Lighthouse? Operation Lighthouse is an interactive program which focuses on both parents and students in a learning environment that facilitates the dissemination of information regarding substance awareness, healthy lifestyle, and making the correct choices. So many times we have had issues at school, Sister Francis, Mrs. Francis, who will tell you that in school there are many challenges. Price, she's on the outside, will tell you that there are many challenges that we encounter with our students at school. And the same students who come to church are the same students who go back to school and interact with the population that is there. So whatever is happening in the school or in the wider society, we need to stop fooling ourselves. The children who are in the church are exposed to this kind of challenge. Can I say amen to that? All right. So therefore, it is our responsibility to enlighten those who have had the opportunity to be enlightened where the Word of God is concerned, further enlightened with healthy information, and especially drug awareness information. Now, if I may say to you, we have a program that we are very proud of. And this program was created for parent-student interaction. Because many a years we have found out that when we deliver information to the children, they oftentimes go home and share the information with parents. But because parents are not au fait with this kind of information, they are not aware of it, they oftentimes have a difference in opinion, difference where knowledge is concerned. And oftentimes we have issues because we found out in some cases that children try to educate the parents, but because the parents have been set in their own ways, oftentimes the communication stops unfulfilled and it's not taking the path that it ought to take. So Operation Lighthouse, a family resource curriculum, will bridge that gap. And in so doing, we hope that having completed this training with the parents that are going to be identified at this time, because we're going to ask that all parents who are going to be a part of the program, our mentors, their names will be added to this list, and the students who are going to be a part of the program, their names will be added to this list. And the general population, the others who are here, will also allow your names to be captured on this list for me. Could you please pass on for Miss to assist? So those who are ready to be a part of the program, because the program is going to run for this week and next week the 13th, Madam, all right? And then having completed the program, we are going to be allowing persons who are actively involved, who have gone through all the process, to experience what we call our graduation exercise. Not sure if it's going to be next week, but we'll get the final words from Mrs. Francis in time. And on that day, or at that Sabbath activity, or if it's another day that you've chosen, each person, parent and the sponsored child, will be awarded a certificate of participation to say that you would have completed the process where drug awareness is concerned, healthy lifestyle is concerned, and you have gotten to that level. So we will provide you with the certificate for you to have, for it to be stated that yes, you had gone through and completed. This one is for another group that we did somewhere in, I think it's a parent somewhere in Milk River. So these certificates are to be handed out at a ceremony to be completed. So therefore, we want for you to understand that at all times, we have the National Council on Drug Abuse as our support agency. We provide you with material that is very meaningful and beneficial to you as a person, and also for you to share in your community. We're also looking for persons that we can train as volunteers, meaning having gone through the training and made, you won't see a Mr. Miller face. Mr. Miller might be there, but sitting in the background somewhere, way at the back there, while the volunteer or the volunteers from this church who were trained will be standing in this position with the ability, the knowledge, and the information to so deliver what drug awareness message we have to deliver. And I can say to you, it works. You can ask Pastor. Pastor is one such volunteer who came through the National Council on Drug Abuse. If he's anywhere here, good afternoon, sir. Or he's not here. But he can tell you, in the earlier days when he was back over on the other side, he was actively involved in drug awareness activities. And he can tell you stories of how beneficial being a volunteer in drug awareness events would have brought him to that point. As a matter of fact, I myself started out as a volunteer within the same era and time that Pastor was involved, because he was involved somewhere in the Yorton area, while I was involved somewhere in the Old Harbor area. And by chance, my involvement during volunteerism, they saw my potential and then invited me in for an interview, and the rest is history, as I told you. I'm now the officer in charge of Clarendon for the National Council on Drug Abuse. So when you volunteer and you're prepared by delivering the information, you get the information and you're aware of it, it becomes easy to just graduate and become a part of what is happening. And it was much to my surprise that I was called in, having been trained on numerous occasions, to serve as an officer for the parish of Clarendon, which I gladly accept, because I found out that substance awareness was a positive thing and we love to be a part of it. Now, these folders that you see here, they have material in them for the groups. So if you're a parent, this will be your material, because the booklet that is presently in this will be your guide throughout the training that we're going to be completing. And if Ms. Francis will look at that, the other is that of one for the children. So the children has their own material, while the parents will have their material, and we'll distribute it as soon as we have identified who is who, and then we get into the program. Now let me ask a quick question going in. Who here wants to be a part of this training and wants to be ready as a parent and as a volunteer at this time? Let me see the parents first. Raise your hand who are going to be completing the preparation and also be a part of the graduation. Oh, sorry. You see, old habits die hard. I'm used to schools where the PTA provides me with the parents and the child sitting beside the parent and all of that. My good support, Mrs. Francis, is saying to our mentors. Excellent, all right? So our mentors and the children that they're going to be working with. Let me see the hands of our mentors that are going to be identified here this afternoon. So we have 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at a mentor here. It's just that she has not yet decided to hold up her hand. Is that true? Sister Aline? A mentor, but it's just that you have not yet decided. By the end of the activity, I'm sure you will, all right? All right, let's get into it. Now, I want for us to ask ourselves a little question. I want for you to ask yourself, what are the key things that makes up a family? We have all done social studies and we have all gone through the processes. What makes a family? A family? Yes? Mother and father and children. Any other? Agree with that?
I agree with mother and father and children and grandmother and
Extended family?
and good friends.
All right. So therefore, we have different types of family. But it's very important that we understand that these persons are related to each other in some way or form. So therefore, they have a vested interest in each other. So therefore, they make the extra effort to support one another in getting through whatever it's required for them to get through. Am I correct where that's concerned? No. I want for you to understand that children and parents have a bond. And that bond is very important. The bond that a parent has with a child is different from what a neighbor has with that child. The neighbor sees the child across the fence. He's excited to see the child each day, calls to the child, is very happy to see the child when the child calls to him or her. But the parent has a different relationship. The parent has the feelings, the emotions, and the connection to the child that knows and understands who that child is and what that child is about. Am I correct where I'm saying there? Am I correct? All right. It's a teaching-learning agreement. So feel free to respond and communicate likewise. All right? Now I want to ask you. There is one thing that oftentimes children say that they don't get from parents. Can anyone tell me what that is? Love and attention. Love and attention. Now, oftentimes, parents misinterpret material things, stuff, provision as love and attention. Because to be honest with you, some parents themselves were not aware or were not given the kind of love and attention that they should have been given when they themselves were growing up. Am I talking truth here? So oftentimes it becomes somewhat of a challenge for them to reproduce this type of love and attention that their children craze for. I say to a parent oftentimes that came to me with a son. The son, when he gets home, he would go in his room and he would lock the door and he would turn up the music and play the loudest sounds that he could find. When he gets home, when it's time for dinner, he would not come out until his mother comes and knocks the door and says, "Come out for dinner." And he will stay inside there an extra 5 minutes, and the mother needs to come back again and tell him, "Johnny, come for dinner." What I found out was that Johnny was trying to get the attention of his parents, and he thought the only way that he could do this is to hide or isolate himself so that it would force his parents to come looking for him. Now, this could be somewhat of a deviant behavior, but in some cases, this is a start. This was Johnny's way of getting his parent to focus on him, because he knew that before dinner, if anyone was absent from the dinner table, then they would go and find that individual and bring him to the dinner table, or her. So Johnny used this opportunity for when the mother comes or the father comes to find him, to encourage him, to hug him and say, "Come, let's go have dinner," to let him feel comfortable, let him feel special, to let him feel a part of the family. Because between Monday to Friday, it's busy activity. Going to work, going to school, getting back home, doing homework, doing home chores, and doing everything, and then it starts all over again Monday morning. But Johnny wanted more attention. There are many children who start acting up in simple ways. Before the behavior starts to get out of control, they show simple signs of need for love and attention, as was mentioned. Remember, buying them everything and giving them all the money to go to school is not the same as being there for them. Mrs. Francis will tell you that there are times when there are some parents who turn up for school September morning, grade 7, and then they don't see them again until June or May, in graduation 5 years later. How can that be? You have never been to a PTA. You do not take the time out to interact with the teachers. It's a good thing that the child was a good child, because if that were the case, the child could have been missing from school for the entire 5 years that you dropped him off in grade 7, and then when you turn up in fifth form? Yes, or grade 11, the child could have been missing from school all these years. So no matter how much you provide for them, if you're not there for them, then they're losing out, and you are also losing out on an opportunity to interact with them. Now tell me, What are some of the roles that parents should play in the lives of their children,
Parents should know their children's friends.
Yes, they have to know their friends. But I'm asking about the role that the parents should play. And one of them is the first one that people come to tell me. They should give them care and love. They should be the provider for their children. But did you know that as a parent, you should be your child's first teacher?
Yes.
As a parent, you are your child's first teacher. I agree that there are times when you are not capable or you're not knowledgeable of some of the things that they do in school. But I'm not talking about the curriculum activities that are taking place at school. I'm not talking about the math and the English and the social studies. I'm not talking about the sciences and all of that. I'm talking about teaching them the basics of life. Taking them to church, taking them to Sunday school, teaching them how to behave. You also need to be the first disciplinarian for your child. Because if your child learns that you are a disciplinarian, when they get to school or other places in society where there are other disciplinarians, like in the case of the principal or the teacher in class, they will not be going toe-to-toe or trying to oppose that person who is trying to instill discipline, because they would have already had a disciplinarian at home as a parent, and that would not have been something surprising to them. It's oftentimes a mystery why some children behave the way they behave. Because what is happening at school, they have never been exposed to it before. They have never been instructed before. They have never been corrected before. They have never been given the right directions and the right way to do things before. So therefore, if something just pops up in front of you, it just appears to you at this age 12, age 13, or some cases in the primary school, there will be resistance, because you know, not knowing, you're very unfamiliar with this kind of interaction. You feel threatened by it because you were not exposed to it at home. I'm saying to us as parents, because I must say us, because I'm a father of 3. My 18-year-old, no, if you ever hear me say that, she's 19, sorry, you hear? My 19-year-old daughter, she is on her way to university, but she's working part-time and getting there. My 10-year-old daughter, she is a student, and my 8-year-old son is a merit student, but we don't pressure him. The reason I'm making mention of that is that you need to know each and every one of your child's strengths and weaknesses. As a parent, nobody should come to you with anything that surprises you about your child. You should know your child so much that you will know what your child will do, what your child will say, and what your child will never do. Because guess what? You are the first line of contact. So therefore, if they come to you and say, you know that Susie did this, and you can take it into consideration and say, what your child will never do. Susie would not do that. Because guess what? I know that some of them, it's very hard sometimes. But if you train so therefore, if they come to you and say, you know that Susie did this, and you can take it into consideration, I know they'll follow what your child will never do. Susie would not do that. I know that some of them, it's very hard sometimes. But if you so therefore, if they come to you and say, you know that Susie did this, and you can take it into consideration, I know they'll follow what your child will never do. Susie would not do that. I know that some of them, it's very hard sometimes. But if you so therefore, if they come to you and say, you know that Susie did this, and you can take it into consideration, I know that what your child will never do. Susie would not do that. I know that some of them first line of contact. But if you so therefore, if they come to you and say, you know that Susie did this, and you can take it into consideration, I know that what your child will never do. Susie would not do that. But if you so therefore, if they come to you and say, you know that Susie did this, and you can take some point. You heard that? He is saying that effective communication is very important as a parent with your child. It is way bad if your child is more comfortable going next door when he or she have a problem. That is not as good as it ought to be. Mark you, it is good to have the knowledge that there is somebody else that the child can turn to, who you can be confident in. But no parent should feel happy that their child would rather go to their aunt or their uncles. It's a good thing to have good aunts and uncles, but it's better to have the fact that you can communicate with your child so that they can tell you what is happening and they can come to you. I have a relationship with my daughter, especially the first one, wherein while she was at Glenmuir Prep or even at Denby High, her cell phone, she'll be in the car texting, and the person who she's texting, she stepped out and the person texts are waiting on a response, and I can take the phone, continue the conversation with that person, and the person did not know that I, the father, was there. That's the type of relationship that you should have. I have done it, not that I'm impeding on her privacy. No, that's a different case. You know your child, and your child content and your child communication is so at a level where you're comfortable with it. I'm not talking about telling your child that they should be speaking the Queen's language, or I'm saying simple. If somebody come to you and say your daughter told them this or told them that, you can stand up and say no. Yes or no. She would not say that. You must have the relationship that you are the first person that they want to tell about what happened at school today. So if somebody said something to them where drugs, you notice I've not touched drugs any at all yet. Because guess what? When you fix the basics, drugs and other problems will fall in line. When you fix the basics and you have the basics correct, all the other issues will fall into place. I'm saying to you, you should not have a child that is afraid to talk to you. If they're afraid to talk to you, there are several things that they are doing or saying that you don't know about. Am I talking truth here? All right. Now, I want for you, as a parent, or as we are now saying, can we issue the booklet so we can do an interaction? All right? There's an activity here. There's a question somewhere or a point? Okay, yes, go ahead.
I think one of the reasons why there's effective communication between parent and child, most times it has to do with the upbringing of that parent also.
The upbringing of the parent.
For example, if that parent as a child was used to being called down.
Yes.
And talked down to.
Yes.
You will find that it's hard for that parent to communicate with his or her child, because the same way that she was brought up or he was brought up, it's the same way they will bring up the child.
Excellent point. Children live what they learn. No. If the parent was cowed down, your point, and then you come, yes? Bullied, as in others, their age group bullied them, they feel bullied. Okay? Another point?
Yeah, I have a point.
Go ahead.
I remember when I was growing up, and even my child, 4 children, and when I tell them, when I was growing up, and if I go on the road and I do something, and a elder out there see me and talk to me, and if I don't hear or can't hear, I get a beating, go home. If I go home and my mother find out what's the problem that I get a beating, I get another one. But these children nowadays, you tell them about the way how you used to grow, they're going to tell us a modern time. No.
All right. Okay, I understand the point that you're making. We're going to get to that point, because that point is in line with the theme for National Council on Drug Abuse, Drug Awareness Month in November. It takes a village. I'll soon be getting to that point. Now, the point that you made earlier, the point that you made earlier with regards to bullying. Now, there are some parents who grew up in an environment that was mentioned earlier, that they had no relationship with the parents that they had. They had no relationship. Whether it was their father or their mother, they had no voice. They could not say anything. They could not even feel comfortable in the environment. But like was mentioned, today we are making a change. We are doing things differently. Now, I remember when I was growing up, the point that my good friend here made, that when we walked on the street, we had to behave ourselves in the best possible way. Because if we refuse to behave ourselves, and the gentleman who lives up the lane saw us and realized that, Miller, that is your name. How come you on the road playing marble when you should be at school? How come you on the road running up and down when it's this late? If that person spoke to you and you did not pay attention or listen to that person, mark you, when you reach home and the message reached the gate that you were disobedient to an adult up the street, you would get it. No, I'm not saying that today that we ought to be as, what you call it now, as drastic and as stern with the children. But they should know that respect is due to adults, all right? And that is a session that we're going to have with the children. I'm still waiting to identify the group of young people that we're going to be considering to be the mentees in the mentor program, because we want to have a session with them. I'm looking at a few, but I still want to see the others that we're going to have the session with. I'm looking at the persons who are going to be the mentors, but I'm still waiting to see the mentees that we're going to have. Because guess what? We also need to let them understand that it is not all things that are new are good. Can I say that again? It's not all things that are modern are good. Because behavior, manners, and respect can never be changed. Can I say that again? Behavior, manners, and respect can never be changed. So no matter how modern the time gets, manners, respect, and behavior still remains. So while we want for them to exceed at their scholastic endeavors, we want them to graduate and get their subjects, but also we want for them to graduate where behavior, manners, and respect is concerned. Because my grandmother used to tell me that manners does what? Takes you through the world. Manners takes you through the world. So no matter how much education you have, no matter how much CXC you get, and when you reach the University of the West Indies, if you forget to say good morning to the lecturer or good afternoon to the persons that you're going into for the interview, they might just tell you to turn back and go about your business. No matter how much CXC you have, no matter how much CAPE subjects you have, because manners is still in style. Can I say it? Manners is still in style. So you have to have manners no matter what you do, no matter how brilliant you are, no matter how excellent you are at whatever you do. Manners and respect is a must, and we need to get that. So I need to identify our youngsters that we're going to be working with so I can set up my session with them to interact with them. Too many times we realize that the cell phone or the tablet is paid more respect than others around them. Is that true? We need to sit with them and let them understand that technology is good, but technology cannot help you if you need assistance. Some of them, once their head is down in the phone, they could walk in far and they're not aware. They could walk in the road and they're not aware because they're too into the instrument, too into the gadget, and they're not aware of what is happening. Can I say to you, some of our young people, and I'm not bashing them, because I know that they need to be exposed. I know that they need to be able to interact, but at the same time, they are not connecting. And can I do something right now? Can I ask a question? What did I say across that side there? Look at this test. Can I ask a question what I just said across there? So you prove my point, what I just said? You didn't even hear. You heard? How long do I have to get the... Yes. All right, you heard the question. Where's the mic when it should be across there? Run with the mic because I want to prove a point. And I'm not going to be difficult, but I can challenge you. There's a cell phone somewhere over there that is distracting you. Is it? There's a cell phone somewhere over there that's distracting you. Isn't that true? All right, so my point exactly. I would love for you to tell me what I said before.
You were saying that cell phones are very distracting. No, you were saying that cell phones are very distracting and.
Oh, she heard a lot. I said more than that. If you were more interactive, if you were on this side and not being segregated across there, but nevertheless, next week, the 13th, I'm returning, and I'm returning for our young people. Tell me which school you attend. Go back with the mic for me. I want to hear the name of the schools. Because some of them who are sitting there, they have seen me already. Tell me what's the name of the school that is across there?
Glenmere High School.
You have seen me before, haven't you? No.
No.
Oh, miss, you hear that? She has never seen me before. So she was absent from devotion or late. Pass on the phone for me. What school are you from?
Central High.
Central High. And you have seen me before. You have never seen me before. All right. What about in the auditorium? Every November, I am present in the auditorium. And I'm at Central High more than any other school in Clarendon. Not to say, but I'm telling you. Next person. Which school?
Old Harbor High School.
Old Harbor High School. That's my alma mater. Which class are you in?
Grade 7.
Grade 7. Okay. Next person. Sir? Sir? I'd like to ask you a question. Can I?
Yeah.
How would you like to be the leader of our volunteer peer counselors?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. All right. I hear you. Why is that so?
Not my type of stuff.
Wow. What if I told you that at high school I thought this was not my type of stuff also?
Pardon?
At high school I thought this was not my type of stuff. But look at me now. Could I ask, are you still in school?
Yes. Yes.
Which school do you attend?
CMU.
Where?
Caribbean Maritime University.
Excellent. Which school you attended before that?
Manchester High School.
Ah, excellent school. Were you there on their All Together Sing team?
No.
You played cricket?
Nope.
You played football?
Nope.
You played netball? No, I'm just asking. All right, what did you play at school? You're on the quiz team?
No, sir.
That's my point. You have to get involved. It's not your thing. I'm saying, I'd love to meet with you because guess what? A gentleman your stature and your presence should be a leader. And a leader you should be. And you're hiding behind your possibilities or hiding your possibilities behind you. I didn't even need to know your name. Your presence alone should be an excellent entrant. Are you coming up here?
No.
You're coming to join me?
No, I just get up to look for something.
Oh, you're passing on the mic. All right, we talk again, all right? Give him a round of applause. That was a wonderful interaction, wasn't it? And guess what? He said this wasn't his thing. You hear he sounds well? And he said this wasn't his thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to interact with them. We cannot let them stay in the background and feel as if they don't want to be a part of what's happening. I'm saying to you that they are bright and they're intelligent. So we need to get them to participate. So we're going to still invite you, sir, along with the others that we're going to train as volunteers to interact with the rest of the population. Guess what? We have some young people at All's All who are just going, they're going like that. I've been to one of their young people, is it AY in the evening? And I can tell you, there's some little ones there. They're fiery and they're ready to go. And I love working with them. And I'm saying it's the same interaction that I want on this side, to see that we can move forward and push ahead. There's a group at Palmetto that I've met with and worked with, and I'm really loving the vibes. Oh, yeah, I can't say that word, no? I'm loving the togetherness, all right? So I'm saying to us, ladies and gentlemen, I was even suggesting to Madam... Oh, sorry. Yes, I was even saying to Mrs. Francis that I'd love to be able to bring the 3 churches together and have a one-off interactive session. And we could see how we can interact together as a group. Miss, how much time do I have leave? 15 minutes. All right, very good. Now, I want for you to look in your booklets. Look in your booklets and turn to the first page. All the parents, look on the first page. So you're going to now do the exercise on the first page. Do you have your pen and your papers, parents? Where they are? All right. Or our mentors. And students, do you have your papers with you? All right. So the parents are going to do, or the volunteers are going to do the front of the paper. Look at it. The first thing it says that roles of parents, responsibilities of parents. Now you're going to look at it and tell me if you, no, you're not going to tell me, you're going to think about it. If you meet the criteria for each of these activities when it speaks to roles of parents. Are you a teacher as a parent? Or do you feel that you have been doing that as a parent? A provider, a caregiver, and a disciplinarian. All of the above, if you have been doing it, you can give yourself a pat on the shoulder. If there are 1 or 2 that you're falling short on, this is a time that you can step up and you can improve and make better of it. Am I talking to you all? Very good. Now, rate yourselves from 1 to 10, with being the highest, with 10 being the highest. How would you rate yourself? You're not going to show me now, you know. You're just going to rate yourself. You see the rating scale at the bottom there? 1 to 10. You're going to rate yourself. So if you, as a teacher, you think you are at a number 10 as a teacher. If you think as a provider you're at a number 7 or an 8, go ahead and rate yourself. Because guess what? As a parent, you must know who you are. And even if you're not parenting now, you knew what you did while you parented. So rate yourself as a parent now. And those of our young people, the handout for number 1, it says that it's more ideal at times to have them separate, but I'm just trying to mix and do both at the same time for the next 5 minutes. Now, it speaks to good dreams or nightmare. My friends across there, do you have your handout with you? All right, very good. I want for you to identify your good dreams or daydreams. Think about them. How many of you daydream at school when you should be actually doing your work in class? How many of you? You daydream, all right. But guess what? That is distraction from your work that you're doing. Distraction is not good. Daydream is not for class time. It is for, you should be focused on what is happening. Let me say those who have ever had what we call a pie in the sky dream. Like saying that you're going to win that. No, I can't call that word in the church, the blood of Jesus. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, that number thing there, yes. That is a pie in the sky dream. So don't think about it. Wild ideas with no strategy or basis in reality. So don't even think about it, all right? Next, bad dreams. There are times when you worry, and that breeds fear and paralysis. Because someone once said to me, worry brings fear. And fear, the acronym for fear, I think, is false, yes, evidence appearing real. Because once you worry, they bring fear with it. Am I talking truth here? And I'm talking to our young people. Miss, next week I have to get them together. Because see, I'm talking to them again, and they're not even paying any attention. All right? I know that the 2 at the front are paying attention. but we're talking to all our young people. Fear is not real. You need to handle the situation. If it's fear of the math exam, how to conquer it? Do the preparation. Do the practice. If you're not understanding, go to the principal. Ask the principal to get you as help, or the teacher, or your parent. Fear is not supposed to be in your path. Continuing, I'm going to leave the rest of the areas for you to read through and to think about it as we wrap up in the next 5 minutes. Idealistic dreams, romantic dreams, yes, because in church, it is very important for us to help our children to explore who they are, to talk to them about who they are, because there are so many myths leading out there, so many information that are leading our boys astray and our girls astray. So in church, we need to talk to them about romantic dreams. We need to tell them who they are. The boy must know that he's a man, and the man he is to be a father or a husband to his wife and nothing else. Amen? And so let it be. I'm not going into certain things that we shouldn't, but when we talk about parenting and talk about interacting, just as we talk about their discipline and their behavior, we should also talk to them about who God made them to be. Am I talking truth here? So many of us have failed to do so, and we have gotten the rewards of us not doing it. We should tell the children who they are and let them learn from now who they are to be. A girl is a girl, and there's no way a girl should be dressed or to be a boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not trying to be controversial. It's a part of the topic, so we have to touch on it. So I'm going to ask our young people, finish up the discussion at the front here, and when we meet next week, we'll be asking you to look on page 2, yes, and page 3 for the continuation of our activity for you. And also, parents, when we return for our session next week, we're going to ask you to go through the instruction here and tick what general response would be to the following situation. So we're going to ask you to put in the column to answer these situations, and I'm going to read a few of them just to get you started. 1, when I am wrong, I admit my mistakes. Is it sometimes? Are you on the page that I'm on? Parents, we're going to remember, we're looking at ourselves and we're trying to better ourselves as parents. So you're going to say, when I'm wrong, I admit my mistakes. When? All right. Some people will tell you, never. But we're hoping that we'll work on it. Again, it says, even when I am upset, I remain calm and deal with situations appropriately. Sometimes, always, or never. So you need to look at these items and evaluate you as a parent. Evaluate you as an individual. How do you approach? If I have any more? All right, I'll give you mine before I leave, all right? So ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to say boys and girls, but young people, we have started a program here which I think we can continue and complete. But you're going to have to do some homework on your own, because normally, in certain circumstances that we go to deliver, we have an extended time between 2 hours, 2.5 hours to do. But we know that time is of the essence, so we have to cut back on the time. So you complete this, yes, and you can write, you can put in the areas that appeals to you. And don't be ashamed, because guess what? If you can recognize what is happening now, that means you can improve on it for the future. Am I talking truth? So if it was not so good now, you have an opportunity to improve on it or better it as we go forward. So you can complete all of that. And also, there's a section here on page 3 that is very important. I've done it with many parents, and at the end of that session, I have to go into counseling sessions with them, because many of them have never thought about this. what do they want their children to feel about them? They have never thought about it. So like, for example, fill in the blanks. I want my children to feel happy at home, comfortable at home, cared for. They've never thought about it. Listen to this one. 2 things I've never want my children to have to experience are, you can write it there from your own perspective and complete the activity so that you as a parent can continue. And remember, I want for you to go on also to complete this. It's a questionnaire. It simply says you are to evaluate your stress level. So when you complete it, when you return next week, we're going to evaluate what are the stress levels of each person in the group. So say, for example, instruction. Answer yes or no to each of the 20 questions asked. At the end, count how many times you said yes. Look at the score key to see how how stressed you are. I know that we're all attending church and we come to church on Sabbath, but some parents are stressed. So we're going to ask you to go through this quick questionnaire and complete the stress level at which you find yourself. So you put yes if it answers yes. So let's say, for example, do you frequently forget to eat? Yes or no? Sometimes it's in the late afternoon. I remember that I only had a cup of tea or something just to quickly eat on my way out. Because I've been to school X, school Y, and on my way to a parenting meeting. And by the time I realize it's 3 o'clock and I've not eaten anything yet. So you're going to answer these yes or no questions to identify how stressed you are. Because parents, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your children? If you're not focused on taking care of you, it's going to be a little difficult to be able to take care of them when they need to be taken care of. Am I talking truth? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm closing off quickly because I know that time is of the essence. I got 15, I used up 5 from it. No, I used about 10 and a half, all right? But nevertheless, I'm wrapping up now. I want for you to remember, this program, it's called Operation Lighthouse. It's a family resource curriculum that speaks to parents and their children and how they interact where different subjects or topics are concerned. And it is based on a drug awareness curriculum for the next 2 to 3 weeks. I thank you. Are there any questions before we close off? Question? Sir? All right, go ahead, yes? Oh, you'll need to come and talk to Mrs. Francis, all right? No problem. It's finished. I'll try to find a few others in the car. So, ladies and gentlemen, is there no other questions? You've been a wonderful audience. Give yourselves a round of applause, excepting those over there. Give yourselves a round of applause. No, you can join in also. Give yourself a round of applause. I'm just kidding. Thanks again for your time, and thanks again for inviting us. We have some pamphlets and some brochures. They'll be made available. Read and get some information where drug awareness is concerned. Because when we hit the topic of drug abuse, we're going to go running straight into it. All right? Thanks again.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Miller. We were well informed. Although he hasn't gone into what it is all about yet, I know the precursor to that has gotten us thinking what is next to come. And the young people to my right, I don't want Mr. Miller to leave and you not ask him some questions, because he has been at you, right? Right, Janelle? So you guys are going to be asking him questions at this time. I have a question for you, and you can throw back one to Mr. Miller. Do you guys know what drugs are? That's one. And secondly, do you think we need to look at it in the church? All right? So you can state something to him or ask him any question if you want. Do you know what drugs are? And do you think we need to discuss it in the church? I mean, you guys are Christian young people. Why do you need to discuss drug in the church, right, Sante? So I'm going to come over to you and you're going to just speak to it. Do you have an idea what drugs are? Is it important to discuss it in the church?
Drugs are harmful substances that that can harm the body. And why you need to talk about it in the church, because maybe you can shed some light on questions that we've been asking people, but we're not getting the proper answer. So maybe some people in the church have drug issues or have friends who have drug issues and you'd like to help them. So that's one of the main reasons for talking about drug abuse in church.
Very good, Janelle, very good. Okay, so I need to hear from a male. Well done, Janelle. Thank you very much. Definitely. So I'm going to pick out a male now to tell us your views on it.
My name is Javon.
All right, Javon. Stand up straight, Javon, because guess what? As a matter of fact, come here, Javon. You're presenting now. All right. Go ahead now. All right. Go ahead, Javon. You can do it. Read your, say your question. Ask your question.
Why is it that people are not supposed to use drug and some of them use it and it's very harmful to them and it's causing diseases?
Excellent question. You heard that. Why is it that some people are using drugs and it is harmful to them and still causing them to have disease? Disease is what you use, but in fact, it should be, it's affecting them negatively or causing them to be addicted. Now, let me answer. Now, persons have different types of personality and they also behave in different ways. There are individuals who find themselves becoming addicted to substance without even knowing when they became addicted. Because some of them started out by just experimenting. Some of them started out because they were forced because of peer pressure. And by the time they realize they are using or doing something that they don't know even why they started using it or doing it in the first place. But once they become addicted to it, it means in order for them to function normally, they have to use that substance, because they have gone over to another level where they have given over their lives or their actions to this substance. So some people will tell you that they cannot get up and don't smoke a spliff because they have surrendered their lives to this substance and they feel as if they need it in order to continue or in order for them to go through their day because they are addicted or dependent on it. It is not because they can't do any better, but it's because they are addicted or they are dependent on it. And even some of them are aware of the serious effects that it has on their body or other members of their family. But because of the addiction, they cannot stop until they get professional help. All right? Quickly, another question. Come, beautiful. Quickly. I want you to talk loud so that those over there can hear you. And let them see how bright you are. You see them over there? Mm-hmm. That set over there. That's the ones I want you to talk for them to hear. You hear? Go ahead.
Are pills in the pharmacy drugs also?
Wow. Give her a round of applause. That's a wonderful question. Are pills in the pharmacy drugs also? Yes. There are good drugs and there are bad drugs. Because the medication that the doctors prescribe, they are also considered to be drugs. But however, the drugs that we're referring to are things that people use, that some of them are legal, but others are illegal in the society. Some of them are, like, for example, alcohol that they drink, rum as they call it, cigarette that they smoke, or ganja that they smoke. While ganja is illegal, cigarette and alcohol is not illegal, but children should not be participating in it. And these substances are drugs, believe it or not. But the pills and the things that comes from the pharmacy, these also can be abused, because persons do become addicted to some of these substances, because some of these medication rather, some of these drugs, because they use them in the wrong way that they were not prescribed to be used. I thank you. Have a wonderful day, because I realize that if we continue, the questions will just continue coming and coming and coming.
Okay, Mr. Miller, I asked Daniel Ludford at this time to come and extend thanks to you.
All right. On behalf of the Maypen Seventh-day Adventist Church, we'd like to thank you for presenting such an informative presentation.
Yes, sir.
And we look forward to part 2 next week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ludford. It is? Yes. All right, thanks again.
Let me hear you say amen, church. Amen. I'm going to ask the 3 young persons who had the papers with them to collect the folders. We need them for next week. Please go around, Amisha, and collect all the folders at this time. Shaquina, please write your names on the folders. Please write your name on the folder, and please be present next week for part 2 so that at the end you can be certified. Could you show them the certificate again, Mr. Miller?
Can you make an agreement with them to be back in Sabbath next week if they take it home?
Yes. Okay, brothers and sisters, Mr. Miller is trying to make a deal with you to say, take it home, do the activities, and take it back next week. But the onus is on you now to be responsible and commit to taking it back next week. Brothers and sisters, please. I have the list of names of persons who received folders. So please take them back next week. Ensure that you do the activities. Young people, children, parents, do the activities. Remember, at the end, you will receive this certificate, and it is signed by the Director of Client Services and Substance Abuse Officer. And remember, it will enable you to go and also train others and continue the awareness about drugs. Okay? I want to thank you for tuning in again. And next week, we will continue our informative sessions, and we also invite you to join.